What have I done?
Chris was right. There is no hard drive.
You were left. You were standing to the left of me.
But there was no hard drive.
Yeah, there's no hard drive. G'day folks, Jordan here, back at it again with some more computers. These are freebies that I've gotten from an ad on Facebook, and I really wouldn't have wanted to pay money for these things anyway, but in the speaking of things, of course free is always good. I think all these units in the back here are all parts units because they were labeled as such, and these were bought at a sort of an auction for the county because they were just auctioning off all of their old equipment. Probably because they were upgrading to Windows 7 based PCs at the time. I also have a couple more up here, and they're more of the complete side of things, including some LCDs that are of the ancient Dell type, which are nice. Right in here, I believe is a OptiPlex GX150 Pentium 3, and I believe the one over there is a GX270 Pentium 4. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, GX150, GX270 on the right, over there, on the left. Sorry, I'm on the video side of things. Anyway, all that stuff for free. I want to say I got one 240, two 150s, because there's a 150 there, and I believe this one here is a 270. This is a 240. That's another 240. What's that in the back? I think that's another 270. Yeah, that's another 270. And then I got another 150 and 270 up front. So I don't know if any of them work. That's a total of 7 systems. So I don't know if any of them work. We're definitely gonna be checking the ones in the back, but we can pretty much guarantee that the 2 up front are guaranteed functioning machines. I don't know how much memory are in any of them. All I know is that it's a mix of Pentium 3 and Pentium 4 CPUs, which is great because I've been looking for more Pentium 3 systems. So that's definitely something that I can check off my list. And got a couple of Dell LCDs, and they have hard power switches, which is nice. So that's definitely something I can look forward to. And I believe these monitors were manufactured in 2002, 2003, somewhere in there. I did get a couple of keyboards. They're not Dell keyboards, but that's fine. Always having some extra keyboards is a nice touch. Excuse me. So, I don't know. In a little bit here, once we get some errand running done, we will definitely hook up each and every single one of these systems if we can. I know a couple are missing power supplies, so that's going to be interesting. But I think for the most part, we can get them to work. So we'll see you guys when we get these things unloaded and check each and every single one of them out just to make sure that, they're, somewhat functional or somewhat complete. So, yeah. Anybody want a free Dell logo? Anyway, it went off the one in the house, the 270 in the house. But anyway. So these are the junk systems that I've pretty much put out here. So this is basically, let's see, this one is GX240. This is the GX150 that was labeled as junk. 270, 270, 240. And then in the house we have the nice GX150 and the nice 270, although I don't know. This claimed junk 270 might be the nice one. We'll see. We got a monitor, the other one's in the house, the cleaner one, but they'll work just fine. And we got a test keyboard. If we need a mouse, we got a mouse. Of course, it's that GE one. So we got power cords. We got everything we need to test these things. But we're going to test these junk ones first before we actually move on to the nice units. And especially I'm curious about the Pentium 3, so we'll probably start with that one first. So I guess we'll dig in. So digging into the first GX150, the one labeled as junk, you can already see that it's got no power supply. It's got no optical drive, floppy drive, or hard drive, and for that matter, no RAM, but of course this just takes PC133. They pretty much limboed this system, so no surprise there. This is very interesting. It looks as if this has some kind of... I've never seen anything like this before, but that's what happens when you find these old systems and pick them up for free. It's just sitting in the AGP slot, but I can't get it out. I think I got it. There we go. I think this is like one of those memory expansion models or modules for the integrated video or something, because it's only 4 meg, but it went into the AGP slot. So I think that's like some kind of onboard video memory expansion from Dell. I'm not really sure what that's for. Or maybe the system has dedicated onboard graphics and they're just hiding under that baffle there. That might be too. I'm not really sure, because this very well could have onboard like ATI Radeon or Rage, sorry, ATI Rage series graphics on board. I'm getting a little ahead of myself there. Although I can't really tell. I have to take off this baffle here, which that's going to be interesting because it looks like it takes the fan with it. But it's probably an Intel 810 chipset, if I had to guess. Flash BIOS is from 1984, which is really interesting. They haven't changed that. At least they didn't change it back in the day. One thing that's interesting, though, about these particular systems is they have this little edge connector, because the motherboard that they used was designed in part to work with the small form factor system. So what they did for the bigger units, like the full tower and the slimline desktop, not the small form factor, was they added this riser board, which gave you 2 additional PCI slots. So that's kind of an interesting thing that they did on the 150 all the way up to, I believe, the 240 or 260. I don't remember when they stopped doing that design. I know the 270, they did not do that because they just used a full ATX micro ATX motherboard, sorry, with the 270. And then the small form factor 270 had its own custom designed motherboard that was similar in design to this, but was designed in part to be used with the small form factor system, unlike these ones, which, of course, they use the small form factor motherboard with an edge connector to give you extra PCI slots. And one thing that's interesting, I'm not sure what's up with this PCI slot. It almost looks as if it would be designed for some kind of 64-bit thing, but these systems are not 64-bit. So I'm not sure what this additional bit is for. I'm not sure if some kind of Dell card would have went in this that used this additional bit of connector. I'm not really sure. But this system, at the moment, I can't power it on. I'll power it on later. So I'm just going to set it aside for now until I can figure out what I'm going to do to populate this system with parts. So unless I come across one that doesn't happen to work, but it has a good power supply, I'll chuck it in this and I'll see if it works. So let's move on to one of the GX240s. Actually, if anybody needs a Windows NT 4.0 product key, there you go. Pause if you want it. So here is a GX240. This one actually also has an NT Workstation 4.0 product key, which is really late in the life of NT4. In fact, what's the date on this product key? There's a 2001 date, so this is quite late in the life of NT4, because by that point it was already 5 years old, and I think NT ended support in 2004 or something or another, so that was really late in the life, especially considering this is a Pentium 4, so that's kind of bizarre. Although it's really not too new of a Pentium 4. I think this came out in like 01 or 02. Probably 01, but I don't know. Anyway, looks like this one has RAM in it, and it also has a 1984 BIOS, so that's kind of interesting. I wonder how much memory. And of course, the 240 uses PC-133. What is this? Probably 128 megabytes if I had to guess. It does not say, but I'm going to take a guess, and I'm going to assume that's 128 megabytes because that's usually what these came with, which that was one way that Dell cut corners in terms of manufacturing cost and sales cost, but that's what drove many people to buy these things, is because they were so cheap. But then when they realized that when it came to running Windows XP, 128 megs wasn't going to suffice, so that's why these things ended up either getting memory upgrades or getting dumped, or in this case, it was just running NT4, so it really wouldn't have mattered. As you can see, even at the 240 stage, it still has this edge connector to connect the extra PCI slots. And I want to guess that the graphics card in this is probably going to be an ATI Rage 128. I wouldn't, think it'd be anything newer. What does it say on the back? It's an ATI Rage. I think. I can't read it. I know it's an ATI card, and that's what my GX240 came with, was a Rage 128. This one has a Rage 128 Ultra. It says right down there, so nice. It has a better graphics card than my GX240.
It's time to stop.
Okay. So other than missing a hard drive, it is basically complete, including a floppy drive and a DVD-ROM drive. I'm assuming it's a DVD-ROM. It could be just a CDRW.
Is that the one labeled junk?
No, it's just a CD drive. This one was not labeled as junk, so this one might be a fully functional unit, although it doesn't have a hard drive in it, but
right,
not really that big of a problem. So it even still has all the drive rails, of which if you want to put in an extra drive or something, a replacement drive, in case the one that was taken out of it didn't leave the brackets behind,
right,
then you totally could. So that's quite nice.
So all you'd have to throw it as a...
All I have to throw in is a hard drive, and then I can toss on Windows NT4, and it'd be all good to go.
Not too bad.
So not too bad. Or maybe Windows 2000 would be a little more common of an OS, but we'll see. Anyway, next system. How's that workout coming along?
It's going pretty good.
You liking my stage prop? Here you have a 270, a GX 270. This one has an XP license, so I'm not showing it, because I can still use that. But this one, you know, is a GX 270 because it has 6 USB ports, in addition to the Intel Extreme graphics on board. Taking a look inside of the first GX 270 here, you can see it's basically complete without the hard drive, of course, but man, is this thing clean. Man, that is impressively clean. It's still even got a CMOS battery in it. I'm not sure if that's the original or not. I can't see if there's any kind of date code on it or not. Anyway, this machine does have RAM, 2 sticks out of 4. Sorry, there's no video light, but if there was any video light on it, it would drain my phone's battery to like 0 in like 2 minutes. So yeah, we got 128 megs DDR PC2700. That's like the smallest DDR memory stick I've ever seen, honestly.
What?
I thought the 256 meg sticks were small. Look at this. Damn. That's like 128. God. Wouldn't you bet this has 256 megs of RAM?
That's not the smallest memory stick I've
ever
seen.
Yep, called it. 256 megs.
Stick I've ever seen? 1 megabyte stick for the old PlayStation 1.
God. But no, you got to think, this is DDR1, so yeah. I mean, that's quite small for DDR1. But then at the time, you got to think, memory was expensive. It still is expensive. DDR4 is not cheap memory.
Oh, what'd you say? I can't remember.
I can't remember. Well, that's me in a nutshell. Anyway, I'm going to put this back in, and I'll be right back. So being that this is a GX270, I believe it has a DVD-ROM CDRW drive, floppy drive. Just need to put in a hard drive, which is fine. Now, of course, these came out of the county auction, like I was saying at the beginning of the video, so all the hard drives are pulled, which is totally fine. It looks like it's got all the cables and all that stuff in there, so that's pretty cool. It's even got a chassis intrusion switch, so that's quite nice, too. It's even got the USB 2.0 header going into the front panel. The one thing that these systems do not have is the business audio internal speaker, which would go there. But basically, this one is complete. So I figure if we probably put that with the GX 240 there, we could probably power both of these systems on just to the BIOS, just to make sure that they work. So next, we're going to check out this other GX 270, because I'm convinced that there's a hard drive in it, even though it says there's none on there, but I'm really not sure. So I'm not really sure what to believe. I guess we'll have to open it up and find out. All right, so here's the other GX270. Again, it's super clean, just like that one there. Like, I'm really surprised that the insides of these are actually clean. And this one, I actually thought I was I was going crazy, but no. This actually does have the internal speaker. So these are just little things that you can clip into the front, and it will actually route the audio from the sound card out through the front if you don't have anything plugged into any of the audio jacks. So that's quite nice. Or audio output jacks, anyway.
Chris was right. There is no hard drive.
You were left. You were standing to the left of me.
But there was no hard drive.
Yeah, there's no hard drive.
The note on the top was right.
But, again, no surprise.
But if we threw in a hard drive, this would be a decent little machine. I mean,
assuming it works, of course.
Right.
But the nice thing about the GX270 is it has serial ATA ports, so that's what makes it quite nice. Granted, it's only SATA 1, but you do get SATA ports. So I believe this one's also going to probably have the same amount of memory, just like the other one at 256 megabytes. But it's worth checking the DIMMs just to be sure. This one's an Infineon 256 meg stick. Okay, DDR166. Man, that is the slowest DDR memory I can ever think of. Like PC2100 or something, like, God. DDR166, man, you can't get any slower than that. Unless you underclock the memory, of course. I bet you the other stick's probably going to be matched to give you dual channel. And indeed it is. So 512 megs in this one, so not too terribly bad for the time.
Right.
It'd run XP decently. Of course, if you wanted to run anything newer or more modern, of course, that might need an upgrade. And these systems can max out to 2 gigs of RAM, if I recall. They might be able to take 4 gigs, I don't remember. These are DDR400 capable systems, but I don't remember if they max out at 4 gigs or 2 gigs. Not that I couldn't figure that out, because I have memory from my HP 81477C that I could pop into one of these. And, yeah. So anyway, sorry about the jump cut. I got a phone call saying that crap needs to be paid because, of course, we had no money and stuff needs to be paid. But anyway, we're going to check out that GX240, and then we'll get to powering on these three at the very least, because they seem to be complete, just missing hard drives. So those will make for some interesting boot ups, at least to make sure that they power on to the BIOS. Although, I don't know, we might start out with the ones inside first, just that way we have something more interesting, but you never know. It's always nice to start out with the junk systems, then move our way up to the nice systems. So taking a look at the second to last, or maybe this is the last GX240. As you can see, there's no power supply, just like the GX150. No memory, no optical drive, floppy drive, hard drive.
So
it does have a CPU in it, though, which is nice, even though I really wouldn't care because it's just a Pentium 4.
So this will probably just be a part system.
This will go right along the, or right alongside the GX150 that's labeled as junk. Although, before we power any of these things on, I figure we'll just take a look at the GX150 and 270 in the house. What really surprised me, though, for a GX240, I believe, this actually has USB 2.0 on the front panel. That's really surprising. Because usually a GX240 only has USB... No, they do have USB 2.0. They're based on the Intel 845G, I believe, or something similar based on that heatsink there. So they, have USB 2.0 support.
It does have the internal speaker on this.
And it does have the internal speaker, again.
So we can always take that off and put it on one of the other systems.
Exactly. They just pop in and out, so that's quite nice.
Exactly. So if one of the systems inside does have an internal speaker, we can always put one in there.
Yeah, if that GX150 turns out to work, which I bet it will, then that'll be nice to pop that in there, because that'll be really nice to have. Not like you can't buy one of those off eBay for a couple bucks plus shipping, but
we already have it.
We already have it, so why not? So, alrighty, let's go check out the ones inside, because I'm curious to see what the other two have. So taking a look at the last GX270 here.
It looks like this one's got 512 as well.
This one looks to also have 512 megabytes of RAM. But the nice thing is this one has a hard drive in it. Yep. So that's nice to see. Also, rest in peace, iMac temporarily. Sadly. Unfortunately. But other than a little bit of dust, this one looks to be complete. And it also does have the internal speaker, which is a nice touch. So that's quite nice to have. Looks like this one was manufactured on the 20th of April, 2003. So not too bad. And looks like this one will clean up quite nicely. Just need to get some AGP graphics cards of some kind, you know, because, well, the Intel Extreme 2 video on these systems are nice, you know, that's not exactly a high-performance graphics subset, especially in 2017, or, 2018 now. What am I doing? It's 2018 already, god damn it.
And it does have USB 2.0 as well.
Yeah, these are based on the 865 chipset, or something similar to that. But yeah, Intel integrated gigabit Ethernet. So this one's got the works, just like every GX270. So definitely be interesting to look up the service tags on all these systems to see when they were manufactured and what they had in them when they were new, if Dell still has that information on their website.
Right.
And this is the complete GX150, also with a Windows NT Workstation 4.0 product key on the side. Now these systems, because I got to tell Chris this.
These systems, the motherboard that they have is designed primarily for the small form factor. However, with the bigger form factor, all they really did is on the motherboard, because they have the edge connector there, they added a little board that gave them additional PCI slots. So they fit the micro ATX standard.
It's still 256.
Oh, that's micron memory. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
That's nice memory. If this thing has 512 megs, this thing would have been high rolling back in the day. And this thing would have been made in...
That's fun.
February 18th.
I think this one's stuck under the...
Oh, no, sorry. That's the model thingy. July 7th, 2001, which wouldn't have been too bad.
No, just keep it under there because it's stuck under the stupid...
Oh, well, no, just angle it out of the side. Nope, this one has 16 megs times 64. I think that's also 256.
16 times 64.
Yeah, 16 times 64. I think that's 256.
Well, we'll see.
Let's go ahead and put the memory back into this one, and we'll get started on powering it up. I think we'll start with this one first, because I'm more convinced to try the Pentium 3 units first. Alright, so I have not yet plugged this one in, but we're going to go ahead and do that now. I just figured I'd get the first bang on camera, or actually the first smoke test. Because, of course, that's the UXW build tradition when it comes to us computer people doing videos. So, 3, 2, 1. Alright, he can't do it. Alright, smoke test. Actually, screw that, we gotta do it better. 3, 2, 1. Smoke test! No orange light. Woo! We might be good. All right, let's go ahead and power it on and get into the setup.
Dying and all. We're good.
All right. Hard drive's on. And we got video. What do we got? What do we got? 933 megahertz Pentium 3. Not too bad. Well, considering 2001, I mean, I would have liked to have seen a 1.1 gigahertz, but can't have them all.
So we ended up figuring out that the 16 or
the 16 meg by 64
is 128 meg.
But we'll only find out after we hit this. We're right. 384 megabytes of SD RAM, which even back in 2001 was a decent amount.
Right.
Because most systems new came with 128 back in the day.
It's got 1 megabyte of video memory though.
No, I think it was 4 megs, wasn't it? Because it was 1 meg of video memory, but the display cache is 4 meg. Which I think can be, that's the stuff that's in the AGP slot, which I think can be used as high-speed video memory because it sits in the video memory slot. By golly, I'm just now noticing this, the date and time are correct. God damn it. This thing has a good CMOS battery in it then. That is not bad. Let's see, how big is the hard drive? 10 gigs, that's probably the original capacity, or really close to. I think the systems could have came new with a 20 or a 40 gig. It's got a floppy drive. So let's see what's on the hard drive, if anything.
Well, the time's a bit off, but...
Well, time's probably a bit off, but that's understandable.
About an hour.
Alright, so we're running Windows XP, so not too surprising.
That time's also off.
Well, yeah, what do you expect? Holy crap, man, for Pentium 3, that thing's booting up quick. Wow, that booted up really quick. Holy, man, that is not bad at all. Alright.
Oh, yeah, XP.
XP. Unused icons on the desktop, but whatever. Is there anything on this in terms of programs?
Games. Let's play some Minesweeper.
Play some Minesweeper. It looks like the only thing that is on this is a wireless adapter. Probably a USB thing.
I see what you mean by press marks on the screen.
Yeah, this one's got it pretty bad, but that's fine.
Still usable.
It's a test monitor.
Yeah.
It's a good test monitor. So we got XP Professional Service Pack 2, Pentium 3 933, although it says 930, and then 384 megs of RAM. So this will be a decent XP system, but that's not what I intend to run on this. I have plenty of Windows XP systems, including my Pavilion A1477C that already run XP with 4 gigs of RAM. So this will probably end up being, if not a Windows 2000 system, it'll probably be an NT 4.0 system, considering that it actually came with that when it was new.
Okay, so when I turned this on, it was in landscape, right? And I had it
And then it shifted.
And then I put it... It just flipped upside down.
Good job. Of course it's not going to do it on
Anyways,
video.
But, yeah, no, it was just...
So yeah, looks like this GX150 is a working machine. It's a keeper, definitely a keeper, because I've been looking for a Pentium 3 clamshell like this, because I've been looking for more Pentium 3 systems, honestly, because, well, Pentium 4s are nice, depending on the clock speed. You know, having a Pentium 3 is just, it's just nice. It's just nice to have a Pentium 3. Alright, onto the GX270. At least the good working one. Alright, this is the GX270, so let's go ahead and get this one going with no additional smoke test, because, of course... I think this one was pretty much guaranteed to work, unless, of course, it has a defunct CPU socket. But of course,
oh, this is the one where the stupid friggin'
the front panel came off.
Yeah.
But we can put that back on. It looks like it's still got the clips intact, and they still work. So
does this one have a
green power light? Oh, God! Get to the BIOS! Get to the BIOS! God, it's going way so quickly. Did I get it in time? Yes, I did. 2.4 gigahertz Pentium 4. Man, this thing has never had a BIOS update. Look at that. Original BIOS. Nice. It's got pretty accurate date and time, I'd say.
It's a bit closer than the other one.
Yeah, definitely a lot closer. That one said like friggin' 2 o'clock in the afternoon or something like that.
5.
No, the other one said it was 14
o'clock.
o'clock.
The other one said 3. The other one said 3.
No, it was 14 o'clock, which means 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Oh, damn.
This one's 16.
Yeah, that one's only like 20 minutes off.
Yeah. 512 megs of RAM in dual channel. Hey, that's pretty good.
Hey.
Let's see. Is this a hyper-threading CPU? It is a hyper-threading CPU. What the hell? Why is it not enabled? Come on.
Nah.
God, that hard drive is nearly silent.
What hard drive?
The hard drive in this thing. It's like silent. I can't even hear it.
What hard drive?
Inside this system. It's like, what hard drive?
No, exactly. That's what I was just... Anyway.
40 gig. Not bad. But the nice thing is, again, serial ATA, so we can pop in a set of hard drive up to probably 2 terabytes in a system like this. Would it be worth it? No. But you could totally do that if you only had that one kind of drive.
With 40 gigs, what could we put on it?
Pretty much any OS, really.
Yeah.
I'll put that to performance if it really matters. Let's check out the event log. I'm curious to see what's in it. A couple of keyboard errors and a memory size different thing, probably when they downgraded the amount of memory back to the factory original, when they off-leased these things in 2010.
I remember when computers...
Or maybe 2011. So now that we got hyper-threading enabled, let's go ahead and...
didn't have a push-down thing, they had the...
Yeah, the tray.
Yeah, the tray with the grippy things to help the disk stay intact. Not go...
Yeah, this one's also running Windows XP. It'll probably run better now that it's got hyper-threading enabled. It'll probably run a whole lot faster now that it's got hyper-threading. And do we got a password? I better hope not.
Hit the enter button.
Hit the enter button. Nope. We got an administrator with a blank password. Because that's a trick you can do on some XP systems where you can type in administrator and they'll have no password. Nope, apparently this one does not have any kind of blank passwords, so that's probably good for the owners. I'll probably just erase this hard drive. Let's see if the guest account's enabled. Nope, guest is not enabled. Alright, well that's disappointing. I thought I would be able to boot this one up, but I guess... Well, it boots up, but there's no way to log into it, and I really don't care, because, you know, honestly, I don't really care to see who has, like, their pictures and their music from illegally downloaded albums on here. God knows what's on these systems, so... Honestly...
A metric ton of...
porn.
Exactly.
Alright, well, this one will definitely need a hard drive wipe, so that's fine. The GX150, I don't really need to wipe it, but I'm going to do it anyway because I don't want XP being on there, even though it runs pretty decently, actually.
Right.
I mean, I was surprised by how quickly that started up. Like, that started up really fast for a Pentium 3 running XP, although XP came out at a time when the Pentium 3 was still the biggest, baddest CPU on the market, even compared to the Pentium 4. Which, yes, there were Pentium 4s back in 2001 and 2000 for that matter, but they were not nearly as good as the Pentium 3s of the time. At least the higher-end Pentium 3s. Okay, so here we had the second GX270. This one was marked as having no hard drive, so what I did was I took the good, known working 270 drive, and I just pulled it out and popped it into this one, because I figured if I'm testing another 270, take the drive out of this 270, pop it into that 270, literally don't have to wait for Windows at all. Well, that's the drive that has the password on it, so really it doesn't matter. I'm just using it to make sure that it'll boot up and work. It'll actually recognize a hard drive, so... Alright, let's go ahead and power this one on and see what happens. Oh, it's blinking amber. We got a blinking amber light. I don't know if that means bad power supply or what the deal might possibly be.
Bad hard drive, maybe.
No, not bad hard drive, because probably could mean anything. Huh. Well, that's more than just a bad hard drive, I fear. But that's okay. That's okay. Because it looked like the power was cycling in the power supply, so it could also be in a bad power supply.
Right.
So, I'll test that one later. Move on to the next system. So, this is the last 270. I figured, again, we'll get the 270s out of the way, so go ahead. And? Oh, this one's a good one. Power's on. Sweet.
Alright.
Oh, this one also has the original BIOS on it. Holy crap. Amount of system memory has changed. Fine, whatever.
Is it because we messed around with the memory?
Maybe. The time's also accurate on this one, roughly. It's a little off, but it's rough.
But it's about at the same...
They got the same date, though. That's pretty impressive.
Is it because of the hard drive?
No, the CMOS has that in it.
Oh, yeah. The CMOS
but it also has the original factory BIOS on it, so that's quite interesting. So anyway, let's see. Okay, so 512 megs of memory in this one, except it's only 333 megahertz, but it's still dual channel, so that's quite nice. I can't reach over to the keyboard. This one also hyper-threaded? Yes, indeed, it is a hyper-threaded.
And it's disabled.
And it's also disabled.
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 It's disabled.
But what's nice about these are 800 megahertz front-side buses. So these are the nicer Pentium 4s. Okay, so we're just going to make sure this one boots. I pulled the hard drive out of the other 270 like I mentioned, so this is just going to be a test to make sure it just boots up. that's it really. And it looks like it's booting up, so that's good.
Hey, Jordan.
And for the last power-up thing, this is the GX240 that has the NT 4.0 license on it, and it actually has a power supply. So we're gonna go ahead and see if this one actually has RAM in it and boots up. Has no hard drive, but that's fine. Looks like it powered on just fine. This one's like super clean too, so at least on the exterior, it's super clean.
You gotta think most of these were out in the shed.
Oh, it posted, but I forgot to plug in the video like a smart.
Good job, Jordan.
Fortunately, you don't have to power the system off to have to plug this in. Right, there's no drive, that's fine. I knew
This
that.
one's a bit broken.
What's a little broken?
The clip things.
No, they're not. They don't move. They're fixed in.
Some of them, this one's off.
And this, it wasn't supposed to have one to start with.
Yeah, that's how it's supposed to be. They're vent holes. That's supposed to be how it is. Wow, this one has a Pentium 4 1.7. That's an odd configuration. That's really odd. Usually they have like even number clock speeds, but this must have been a later production model of low clock speed. So this one will definitely not have the hyper-threading. And oh wow, this is really old. It's only got 100 megahertz bus. Man, it's probably equivalent to a Pentium 3 1 gigahertz or something. This one's also only equipped with 128 megs of RAM. So this one will probably be a, I don't want to say a parts donor because it's not, it works just fine it looks like, so. I'd say this one, I might experiment with NT4 to see how it runs with 128 megs of RAM. I think it runs just fine. So it might be for an interesting tinkering system to dink with NT4, although it's only running Window NT because the S has been scratched off, so we're only running Window NT. Alright, so to conclude this video, just because, of course, I have to end it somewhere, the systems that don't have power supplies in them, which will be that other GX150 and this GX240, which don't have power supplies, RAM, or anything else in them, I'll test those later, and I may or may not put the results down below in the comments section. Looks like this one even has a little spider egg in it. Woohoo! But no, I won't be testing those two systems because I'm not really feeling up to tearing them apart and stuff like that. That GX270 that had a weird power problem, it wouldn't like get past the amber LED and it kept flickering, so I'm not sure what's up with it. I'm convinced that it is still good. I'm not sure if it's a bad power supply or if it's a bad CPU. I'm not sure yet. Although, if it was a bad CPU, it would just stay amber and whatnot. So I'm pretty sure it's a bad power supply. I know you really can't see it too well, but you know, the one bad 270, I think it's just a bad power supply, so I'll test it later. And then as for the good systems, we had the good 240, and then we had the
270s.
the good 270s,
Two good 270s.
the two good 270s, and then
the good 150.
the good 150.
Actually,
So
the great 150.
the great 150, I mean, hell, that thing is sweet. It's gonna make a nice cleaner upper. So I don't know. We'll see what happens with the other systems. We'll see if we can get those things posting because they're going to be parts machines. I just figured I'd just try powering them on just to, you know, just out of curiosity factor. But they're still going to be used as parts machines.
I'll accept the 150.
I'll accept this nice 150 because, my God, this thing ended up being really, really nice. So, all right, I think that wraps up this video. So, other than this really stupid stacking job, we're going to go ahead and close out this video. So, appreciate you all taking the time to watch.
And this is Jordan signing off.
You're Jordan.
I'm Josh Jordan.
Alright, well, appreciate you taking the time to help out a little bit with the stacking and everything. So, alright guys, see you all in the next video.